And welcome into the Friday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home with a $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How we doing? What's going on?
Doing all right. I drove by the tree today. So I had to deal with that PTSD right away, man.
Drove by it, not into it.
Yes, I drove by it. I looked.
It's good.
Took quite a chunk out of that tree too, by the way. But I mean, the driving the last couple days has been 3-9, and it has been. I mean, like the grandpa driver thing is actually going to apply now. Yeah. It's actually going to be a fair thing to call me now.
I mean, hyper aware out there. Rexrode is. He sees everything right now when he's driving out there. Every movement.
Yeah. Is that good though? Does that get you in trouble too? There's got to be probably a balance. Probably a balance of being relaxed, right?
I agree. It's probably balance.
I'm not balanced right now. I got here.
That's good. That's always good. Yeah. Ian Safar, how we doing? What's going on?
Doing good, thanks. No deer sightings this morning for myself.
I didn't see any either.
But I actually do drive by a spot that I had my first wreck.
Really?
On my way in every day.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So it's changed with construction, and there's now a subdivision there. So it's not kind of like an open field.
It used to be nice
open field, and
you
know,
nice living room.
But there was like a hefty drop off the road onto like the, and it wasn't quite a ditch, but so that's been, cleared off. So that's good. So it's not quite as dangerous, but yeah, no deer. So all good. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Happy Friday.
By the way, McEwen, because I had to go get my sunglasses out of my car at the wrecker place. But McEwen, have you been to McEwen lately?
Buddy, let me tell you.
Which part?
Yeah, I've been.
Like it's like but like by Wilson Pike.
Okay.
Okay.
Like,
never mind.
Oh yeah.
I thought you meant the city of McEwen.
Oh no!
Like, first off,
we'll have to hear about this.
I got some family in McEwen. We are big in McEwen. This program, people walk into gas stations in McEwen, and this program is on. So we're big in McEwen, Tennessee.
Okay, give me a mileage and direction from here.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that location.
Think Dixon, and then think further out.
Okay.
Think further Clarksville, west? Dixon, and somewhere in between up there.
All right.
Well, okay, love it.
Shout out to McEwen. Well, I was talking about McEwen.
I got really excited for a second.
Yeah, you're like McEwen.
By God,
I'm talking about McEwen today.
I know everything about that place.
Actually, everything there is to know about it. Let me tell you.
Well, McEwen and Franklin, like they've just cleared all the trees out. Have you been?
Not that.
I mean, I'm driving it yesterday, and I'm like, oh, so all the trees are now gone. I mean, it's crazy. It's like you're not driving on the same road anymore, and obviously, it's a development, and the bulldozers are going nuts. Like, man, we are just gonna every little sliver of nature that we can get out of here.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that the other day down in Franklin. Just driving this all used to be just fields,
right?
And now it's every little spot. There's like a house crammed in there.
They're driving the deer out, and we see what happens when they do that.
That's true.
Driving the deer out.
I mean, look, where I hit them is exactly this humongous development that's going to be like, what's the one in Franklin? Kind of like
West Haven.
Exactly.
Like the Stepford Wives.
So we got one of those, and that's exactly where the deer were. They're trying to find a place to go. So, can you blame them? Again, live a good deer life.
Yeah, I hope they do well. Hope those deer are doing really well today.
I do too.
There was
a beautiful stream
this last hockey season, probably for, 3-4 months, where I would come home from Bridgestone Arena after a hockey game, and I'd get to my house, my yard, and there's like 12 deer laying down in the yard. They're just laying there. They spend the night at my house.
Just hanging out.
Wow, there's a whole bunch of you out here right now, and they just don't move. They're just, we see you come down the driveway in the car. We don't care.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
I thought so too. It was like, my own little deer army.
Yeah, it's like there. Your own little Disney movie.
It really was. It's Bambi out here.
Sing zippity doodah.
We got a lot to get into on the program here today. Ryan McGee from ESPN will be with us at 7:30, friend of the show. We'll get into some college football and probably a whole lot more than that with Ryan McGee because that guy's awesome. So we'll get into that coming up at 7:30. Got Nick Hague former Predator. He hasn't even played a
Easy.
game yet.
Well, breaking
Hague-
news.
Breaking news. Nick Hague will not play. No, Nick Hague addressed the media yesterday in his introductory press conference with the Predators. So we'll get into that a little bit later this hour as well. Joe, we got Wimbledon semifinals today in the men's side of things. Let me just tell you, I'm excited for it. Live sports while we're going on. So you got Sinner taking on Djokovic. You got Fritz, the American, taking on Alcaraz. Probably an uphill battle for him. I think it's probably going to end up, Alcaraz and Sinner.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to underestimate Novak Djokovic because I've done that before.
Yeah. That's incredible. And at what is his age again?
38.
38 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Semis. I see. We got the studio set right up there behind you right now.
Yeah. It's going to be good stuff. So looking forward to that. So we talked yesterday about the possible expansion of the NCAA tournament, potentially going to 76. Maybe 72 would be where the number ends up, and how potentially there could have been a decision on that yesterday. Well, for now, Joe, 68 is where we remain. The discussion gets tabled with the committee yesterday, so it doesn't mean that we're staying at 68, and it doesn't mean that the expansion to 76 or 72 couldn't still happen. But as of this morning, the NCAA tournament remains at 68. How are we feeling about it? Is there hope that common sense is going to prevail here, Joe? What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll call it a little minor win that they didn't actually do it, but Dan Gavitt put out a statement. He's the senior VP of basketball, and Dan Gavitt's great. And he said the still viable outcomes include 68, 72, 76. I just paraphrased the rest of the quote. So still viable are the two words that matter there. It's not over. So that still could happen in 26, and it could start if there is a expansion of 27. I'm not optimistic. Like, look, when it comes down to it, when the most powerful people in college sports are pushing for something, usually it happens. I mean, Greg Sankey, the AP story on this recycled some Greg Sankey quotes from the SEC meetings. Quote, "I don't accept that model just continues in the future. You could go ask my colleagues in the automatic qualifier conferences what should happen. I'm certain they want that split to continue for life, but you've got some really, really good teams that I think should be moved into the tournament." Excuse me. And the split being, how many, and the exact numbers eluding me, but how many automatic bids we have and how many at large. And of course, Sankey just loves, NC State got to the Final Four as an 11. And, there are a few examples of teams that went to the first four and made runs. Great. That's why we have a tournament and they're in it. They were in it and they made runs.
Yeah, exactly.
Good for them. We don't need teams worse than them in the tournament. I mean, again, Sankey, good commissioner. But this is, and I understand with all this, you can't focus on one person, but some of the stuff he says about this is infuriating.
He's approaching like Batman villain status for you.
Well, it's just like, seriously, man. Last year, the SEC got all those teams in, and they deserved it. They were incredible. It's the best conference ever. Won a national championship. That's great. Are you mad? Who didn't make it? Who didn't make it from the SEC last year? I mean, do we have
had
to
a billion teams in the tournament?
Yeah. Like, do we have to have did Texas get left out?
I don't think so.
I think they made it. Didn't they make the playing game?
How do I not remember things that just happened? See, I'm, but the bottom line is, great job by the SEC becoming what it has become in basketball. You had a dream season last year. Yeah. I don't know. How about Texas did get in at 19 and 16? How about LSU at 14 and 18? I mean, if we expanded enough, they could have gotten in too.
Everybody in. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, it doesn't improve the tournament. It is purely a money grab. And it's coaches like it because coaches think they get judged on NCAA bids. But again, if we're going to eventually get to like 96, you're not getting a bonus for an NCAA bid anymore, No. And you're also you don't have job security just because you squeak in every few years, if it's that expanded to that extent. I mean, it's just it's sad to see something that's actually good get messed with like this. But I'm not optimistic that it's going to hold on where it is. And again, it's already gone from 64 to 68.
And I'm not going to pretend to speak for every fan here, because I'm sure if the situation played out in actuality and your team was the one benefiting from this, a lot of people would be okay with it. But like, frankly, if Tennessee wasn't good enough to make the tournament, but because they expanded it as much as they want to expand it, they're in, I wouldn't like that. Like, no, they don't need to be in the tournament. They're not good. I don't need to watch them anymore.
Exactly. Like, fans have a barometer, and it's the correct barometer for like what is quality. And yes, there are some years where, look, like Vanderbilt fans a couple years ago, I was sympathetic because by the end of that year, they actually were playing at such a high level, they could have done damage in the tournament. They screwed it up too much early in the season. I thought they might have a chance. There's an example of a fan base that's like, oh, if we could just get in, we could actually do. Okay, I get that. But again, don't screw up early in the season. There's never been a case. People complain every year about certain selections, but like, you can always find the reasons for it. If you lower the bar as much as they want to lower the bar, like there are actually going to be teams in where fan bases are like, stop playing. You're playing more basketball? No, thanks. We don't want that. Why do we want that? I know why. Again, it's look, all these ADs, it's just like we talked about, Robbie, with with the Big Ten thing with the 4-4-2-2, right? All of these ADs are freaking out about money.
Yep.
Because, I mean, my God, Texas Tech is a $55 million football team this year. I mean, so any sort of, okay, now we know we have this, or we have a chance for more units in the NCAA tournament, we have this, they're all going to go for it. They all are going to go for it because it's like, everything that you can show me where there's possible revenue, I'm going to take it right now. But see, sometimes the big picture is missed in those situations, and I think a lot of people are not seeing the forest through the trees.
615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. Off and running on Robby and Rexrode. Coming up next, because of all this NCAA tournament crap, let's take a look at American sports and postseasons. What would we change? Would we change anything? What do we want to see different with the postseason formats in our sports? We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. So for the moment, the NCAA tournament is safe. We'll see if that changes at any time here moving forward. Looks like it probably will. So that'll be a fun day on the show when Rexrode gets a chance to scream about that.
Total meltdown.
That'd be nice. Long fuse will be on full display that day. But the topic that we've kind of spun off of this is, if you could change one postseason format in an American sport, what would it be and why? And we went through this, talking about this yesterday, Joe, of how there have been some changes. I mean, the NFL has expanded to 7 teams in the playoff. You know, the MLB's messed with their wild card and all that other stuff. Haven't seen any changes in terms of like the number of teams in the NHL and the NBA making the playoffs, in terms of like the actual playoffs. But the NBA's got stupid play-in games to get in the playoffs, which I hate. So there's that. So there's tinkering that's been going on with formats of the postseason in American sports. So, Joe, I ask you, if you could change one postseason format in any sport, what would it be and why?
Well, you hit on some stuff, and we've talked about just going back to just a 1-8 in the NHL.
Yes.
Which I think, I mean, that's close for me. That's definitely close for me. I'm with you on the playing games. I'd get rid of I mean, I would tinker with a lot of them. I'd go back in the NFL. Again, I'm okay. I mean, with all these things, you can live with all of them, and that's exactly what's going to happen in the NCAA tournament. You're just going to, there's a few more games on Tuesday and Wednesday, and okay, so do we still fill out the bracket, or okay? But the one that I would change is I would go back to 8 teams in Major League Baseball.
Okay.
And listen, I grew up, I know it seems real light now because we've gone to 12, but just 2 divisions in the AL, 2 divisions in the NL, the champions meet in the ALCS and the NLCS, you play the World Series. I mean, that was my entire childhood, and it was great. And I think that's to realistically try to talk about that being, I mean, first of all, going backward in anything is not going to happen. Okay. So this is already sort of a fantasy magic wand segment, but that's just too much. But just give me the 3 division winners and a wild card. 3 division winners and a wild card, and have actual just series, all the way to, right? So your wild card plays your weakest division winner, and then you have series. You have 2 series down to 1, down to the World Series, instead of all this other stuff they've been doing. I mean, they at least got rid of the 1-game crap, but just way too much tinkering. Obviously, in COVID, they went to 16, but that's different for that. That's what I would do. I don't think it's exclusive enough, and I understand the whole idea. It's just like the NFL, to keep these fan bases engaged for as long as you possibly can. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, right? It's like, keep as many people invested as you possibly can. Back in the old days, I don't know. It just seems to me like, and it's almost like college football when we talk about it. It's like you could still get into, there was no like national championship tournament or national championship hope for your team, but you still would show up at the games, and it was still a big game, right? And it just felt, everything has gone to, do you have a chance at the postseason? I think you still have plenty of inclusion at 8 in MLB.
Yeah, a couple things. Like, I would, if we want to live in the world of fantasy land, let's knock this college football playoff back to 4. That would be great, but we know that that's not going to happen. I mean, the most obvious one to me is get the NHL playoffs, the Stanley Cup playoffs, back to the proper seeding, 1 through 8. Like,
that's second for me.
There's no reason that the Dallas
Stars,
and that can happen, and it should happen, and it hasn't yet. And it doesn't seem like at the moment from the commissioner's office that there's an appetite for it to happen. I think we got to get there at some point pretty soon. There's no reason for the Dallas Stars and Colorado Avalanche last year to be playing in the first round. Now, look, it turned out basically the way I thought it would, which was, it was a great series. And, I mean, Game 7 was epic, with Mikko Rantanen basically just taking over against his former team and punching them through to the next round. How great would that have been, though, in like a, second round or conference final or something like that? So let's get the seeding back to where it should be. 1 through 8 in the NHL. That would be number 1 on my list.
Yeah. I have one thing I want to argue with you about, but Texter says playing games for the NBA is amazing if you watch the NBA regularly. Makes the late games the end of the season more meaningful. Look, I've been in that situation. The Dubs have been in there, and I've watched it all, and you follow it. But to me, it's just like, look, man, we don't need 10 teams. That like 8 teams is fine.
Yep.
8 teams in on each side. I don't care about the 9th team.
No.
Sorry, 9th team. Sorry, 10th team. Sorry,
play better in the regular season.
Yeah, So look, I'm not disagreeing that like I have watched and enjoyed and found compelling some of these playing games.
I have not.
Yeah,
I have not watched. I have not enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, like it comes down to your team being it, But I've watched.
I didn't even watch when the Heat were in the play-in game.
Right?
There's a 0% interest in me.
Yeah,
I want no part of the play-in games.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's fine. I mean, some people watch if their team's in it. The games can be good, but again, you can always find a way to have games. I don't see how anything past 8 should matter, and this 8 should just play 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think Adam Silver, frankly, is doing a horrible job as NBA commissioner. Like, there's a lot of really stupid things that he's come up with here. This is probably I'm trying to decide if the play-in games or the in-season tournament is dumber. I think the in-season tournament's dumber, but it's pretty close. Like there's a
yeah, the intern. Yeah, I agree.
Look, I'm sure there are people that like the play-in games. That's fine. I know a lot of people that really love the NBA. I don't know if any of them like the play-in games. Not that my friend group is like representative of the way that everybody feels. I'm just saying, like, I know a lot of people that have loved the NBA for a long time that look at the play-in games and like, what are we doing? Like, why are we doing this here?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the NCAA tournament. I mean, look, I watch those too, the Dayton games. Sometimes those games are great, but it's still kind of like, okay, let's get through these. And then we get to like, Christmas morning on Thursday.
Right.
It's just this precursor that's just not all that
like
exciting.
preseason.
Yeah, well, that's right. So Pete agrees with you, bring back the 14 playoff. So I totally disagree with that because I think the 14 playoff is why we're where we are. And I've talked about it before. I can't totally explain it because I thought it'd be perfect. Like, great. No one cares about 5. Great. But the 14 playoff made it so that all anybody ever talks about is a playoff. So if you're going to bring back something, bring back the BCS or just bring back 2 teams play for their title. That would be then if you go back to that era, it was still conference championships matter. Like, yes, of course you want to be in the BCS championship game, and it changed it from obviously the poll voters deciding who's the national champion and people just having to play in their ball games. But it didn't completely overtake other aspects of the sport. For whatever reason, once we got to the 4 team, it was this is all that matters. And then that's how we got to where we are today. So I'd rather have more teams or less teams than 4.
Yeah, I can understand that. That's fine. Like I'm with you. I don't want to go back to like people just deciding who the national championship is. I like to see that game played on the field. So let's not go back too far. But yeah, I mean, the one thing, and you can make this argument about every stage of college football, which is why we end up where we are right now. And I understand that. Like the BCS, I think most of the time it probably got it right with the matchup, most of the time. And then everybody's going to throw back to 04 Auburn or whatever that year was.
Yeah.
Like, what in the world? Like, how are they not playing? And especially when you watch, who was it that year they got smoked by USC? Was it Oklahoma?
Yeah.
I think it's Oklahoma got beat by about 50.
USC destroyed Oklahoma in the title game. Yeah, no, that game, that season was a huge, like, guys, it's possible to have a third team that gets totally screwed. So, so again, then you get to, I mean, Ohio State, everybody was furious that they got in 14 and they kicked everybody's butt.
Exactly.
So it's like, well, what would TCU, So anyway, it gets on I got different textures saying, bro, what, anytime you get high stakes, good basketball to W, where are you people when I'm arguing about my love for the NBA and everybody's ripping it? Like, I need you to text in when we're having an NBA argument and people are telling me that 1983 teams would kill these teams.
Yeah, and I think we got a little bit different definition of what high stakes good basketball is. I don't know that the 10 seed many times in the NBA is offering you good basketball. That's just me, though.
Yeah, it's just you took it away right now, and again, it's just like if you just went back to the 64 team bracket, then like no one would really complain. I really don't think so. Yes, maybe some of those games can be good. I've watched games in Dayton that were really good,
Right.
and I got into it. And they were NCAA tournament games. Those were NCAA tournament wins. But you know what? Take them away. Okay.
Yeah, let's get the
Fine.
thing rolling
Please
on
do.
Thursday and go. Let's head back to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in, Joe in Spring Hill. Joe, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, gentlemen, good morning. Thank you so much for that brilliant take on college football. I hate to be like you and do the get off my lawn guy, but you know what? I love the BCS, and I'll tell you why. So much value was placed on those beautiful rivalry games in mid to late November. Alabama had to take care of their business against Auburn. Ohio State or Michigan had to take care of their business. As soon as they started the college playoff, I think they went 8 years with the 14 playoff. And out of the 24 games, it's some ridiculous amount, like 18 of them were more than double-digit victories. The last thing that we need to be watching in January with student athletes, and I emphasize student first because how many games do we need to play, is watching a game in the first or second round and there's a few minutes left in the third quarter and we're wondering whether or not Ohio State's going to cover the 24.5-point spread. That's not quality football. That's not what it's all about. Less is more when it comes to college football as well as the NBA. Let's get back to the 8 teams, call it a day, and be done with it. The NCAA tournament, they perfected the bracket at 64. Guys, great take on the college football. I've been singing the same praises for probably the better part of a decade now. Love the show. Gentlemen, have a great weekend.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. We'll take
Thanks,
more
Joe.
of your thoughts. 615-737-1025, our phone number. What format in American sports in the postseason would you like to see changed? More on that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. This week's Nashville's best deal is Mellow Mushroom. There's no pizza like Mellow Mushroom pizza. Stone baked with fresh ingredients, next level imagination, and limitless options for customization. It's a higher order of pizza. You know and love Mellow Mushroom. Get half off a $30 gift card while supplies last at theGameNashville.com/deals. Gift card good for downtown on Broadway and in Franklin location as well. So make sure you take advantage of that. Take your thoughts on postseason formats in American sports. Which ones would you change? A lot of opinions on this. Keep them coming. 615-737-1025, our phone number. A lot of thought about the BCS and the college football playoff as well. Another texter says, I may be in the minority, but I also feel like the BCS and the 4-team was better. After watching this year's college football playoff, it just made me feel like there's no way that we need this many teams. Look, I mean, you could argue that both ways because I kind of lean that way too. However, the team that just won the national championship in a 4-team playoff would not have been in there.
Yeah.
And they just steamrolled everybody in the college football playoff. So that's certainly something that you've got to factor into it. Now, I understand also saying, well, the team that just won the national championship would have been eliminated by losing to Michigan. And how funny would that have been at the end of the year? How awesome would that have been? You know, the SEC title game last year, we talked about it at the time, but Georgia and Texas in the SEC title game. And it's like, all right, well, what does this really mean? Because I know Georgia, had they lost that game, it would have been their third loss. I still think they're probably getting in if they lost to Texas in that game. Now they ended up winning, so they ended up getting the first round.
There was at least some question. So like, don't mess around.
Right.
You're probably right.
But they ended up winning. They got the first round bye, and Texas was still in the college football playoff. So you can go game by game. And that's the thing about all this, and which is why it is made for such a good debate over the last 2 years. Is like if you really want to, and you're like staunchly on the 4-team side, you can take a look at all the games last year toward the end of the season that somebody lost, and it didn't end up mattering anyway because they got in the college football playoff. And you can also take a look at it from the other side of things and say, well, look at how many games that had some meaning to it at the end of the year because 2 teams were kind of right there together in that playoff race. So It really just, you can go game by game and really debate either side you want to on that thing.
I'll take this over the 4. But yeah, like I can listen on BCS. Again, that's one of those things that's obviously not going to happen. I mean, none of the backward stuff is happening. The only thing that we're talking about that could happen is the NHL going back to seeding. I mean, seeding things are, you can, with any of these, you can do the reseeding like the NFL does reseeding, right? So the NFL, you don't know your opponent's going to, you don't have a set bracket. You're going to, if you're the highest seed or if you're a higher seed, you're going to get the lowest possible seed that wins in your round. I could make the case for that. You could make the case for that in the other sports too.
Yeah.
Which we don't have, right? Like we just have, we just have basically the bracket, and this is how it's going to be. Here's your path. I don't hate reseeding, and that's a reward for, for just having a higher seed. And with college football, if we get rid of the freaking bowl games, the top 4 seeds should get home games.
Yeah.
I mean, there's where, like that, some of that stuff matters on the stretch. Like you want to win a national championship, everybody would feel way better in college football about playing home games. So let's have more home games and less bowl sites for our games.
That would be
Let's
great.
start with the bowl sites in the semifinals. How about that?
So let me ask you something on the NFL, because the expansion to 7 teams on each side in the playoffs has been around, I believe, since 2020. And I think there has been one 7 seed that's actually won a game, and that was the Packers when they took down Dallas back in 2023 season, 2024 playoffs. So, I mean, there haven't been a whole lot of 7 seeds that have done anything to this point. Not saying it can't happen, because, look, I would imagine sometime here in the next 10 years, there's going to be some team that gets hurt all year. They finally get healthy toward the end of the year. They sneak in as a 7 seed, and then they go on some run in the playoffs. So it's going to happen. It happened when it was 6, and like didn't the Giants win both their Super Bowls as 6 seeds with Eli? Like it's going to happen. So
6 or 5, 6 and a 5.
Yeah, maybe 6
they were
or
both
5.
6. They were both. Yeah, they were both
2010
surprised.
Packers were 6 seed. Like there's 6 seeds have won the Super Bowl semi-regularly. So like it's going to happen with a 7 seed at some point. But there's been very little success for the 7 seeds in each of these conferences so far. Do we make anything of that? Is it too early to tell? we know we're not going backwards, but what do we make of the expansion of 7 so far in the NFL?
Yeah, not great. So maybe that's basically the line. We've now crossed it. But again, like you said, oh well, we've crossed it, and the NFL will just hope when they're not colluding against the players. The NFL will just hope that that one of these teams will do something, and then they can it'll validate the size of the playoff. But yeah, maybe that's the line right there. 6 good, 7 bad.
I mean, Washington just made the NFC title game, and they were the 6. So, again, that's another example of a 6 making a deep run there.
They also did it at the expense of the freaking Detroit Lions franchise. So anything can happen when you get to play those guys.
Brian says, in the NFL, seeding should be based on record. Keep the crappy teams out already. I mean, that was proposed this past year. We'll see if that ever ends up actually happening, and it goes just straight up.
Oh, no division winners?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't even mind. Again,
you have to be in.
You got to be in if you win the division. I think you got to be in the playoffs. But I'm with people who say, why does that guarantee you a home game? Yeah. When there's a wild card team that's won 4 more games than you have, why are you getting a home game over there?
I mean, it was pretty trash last year that the Vikings got shipped out when they had the season they had. Yeah. But for losing that game, it made that game incredibly high stakes. The Lions-Vikings game
sure did.
But yeah, I've probably had the both takes on that several times on this show because I keep going back and forth, but it's definitely a valid argument.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if that ever comes to fruition that way, and that's the way they end up seeding things. I understand the argument of you need your division championship to mean something, and the home playoff game is always been what it's been. So that's fine. I understand that. And, I don't hate the way it is now because, look, some years, Joe, it falls the way that it needs to fall, right? The division winners are clearly the 4 best teams in the conference, and those are the years where it's just okay, it's gone the way it should. But last year in the NFC, particularly, a pretty good example of how sometimes that gets a little screwy. I mean, Green Bay last year was the 7th seed, and they had a better record than the 4 seed in the conference. Probably not great.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and then so reseeding with that also, that's how I like reseeding in general, but if your seeding is screwed up because of the divisional thing, then reseeding sometimes also isn't actually smart. It doesn't actually work out. I got somebody on here real quick who is just absolutely beyond me with the current NBA teams would crush the old ones. He's saying that he told William D. Mace that the 2024 Olympics team would have dropped 130 on the dream team of plumbers.
I kind of like that.
And it said they would have been minus 14.5 in that game. I mean, take it easy a little bit. Take it easy a little bit. That was a pretty good team. I mean, I would watch. I think we'd have a good game between that team. Yes, Larry Bird, the back was gone by then. Magic was past his prime, but Jordan was in his prime. Barkley was in his prime. I mean, Karl Malone was in his prime.
Isaiah? Oh, wait.
That's just really mean. That's just really mean.
I forgot about that. He wasn't on that team. Ian, did you forget about that?
I did forget about that.
Man.
Yeah.
You hate to see it.
Just see how long the fuse is.
No, I mean, I've said this before. I would love to see the Dream Team play the Redeem Team in 2008. I'd love to see that team play this Olympic team that just won last year.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome. I'd like to see all of it.
The best of the best, back then it still would be again, where you get into differences is when you get into just regular NBA teams where your 7th, 8th, and 9th player now are so far beyond what they were then. That's where and again, I mean, more than that, probably your 4th, 5th, and 6th too. That's the difference.
Brian says, since college football isn't really college football anymore, how about introducing relegation? I'd like to see some SEC teams get elevated and some NFL teams go down to NCAA. I don't think that would go very well.
That wouldn't go well with the NFL, SEC, but I do not hate relegation. SEC to where is an SEC team get sent?
I don't know. Would
OVC?
it be the Big 12 now?
OVC?
Yeah. Go play in the American Conference.
There's some stretches. I don't want to piss off any Vanderbilt fans, but I'm just saying.
About to say. It could.
There might have been some
It happened a
stretches
few times.
when you're playing Sewanee for a while.
Hey, traditional SEC matchup back in the
Absolutely. That's right.
day. SEC Originals. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Nick Hague was introduced to the media yesterday in his introductory press conference with the Predators. A couple things he said that stood out to me. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 102.5 The Game is teamed up with Pella Windows and the Nashville Humane Association for a puppy pet adoption tomorrow at Pella, 277 Mallory Station Road in Cool Springs from 10 to noon. For more details, visit thegamenashville.com/events. New Predators defenseman Nick Hague had his introductory press conference yesterday. A few things in it that I found to be interesting, stood out to me. But one of the things was about the expanded role that he is apparently going to have here at Nashville, and Barry Trotz has talked about that. Elliot Friedman was on with DVD last week and talked about how there were a lot of different teams that wanted Nick Hague and were trying to trade for him from Vegas, and that Nashville was a team that he felt comfortable extending with. So I have a couple thoughts on that here in a second. But Steve Lehman from News Channel 5, friend of the show, asked him yesterday about kind of what the next step of his game looks like, and I found his answer pretty interesting. Here's what Nick Hague had to say yesterday.
I think there's more to give offensively, for my game. In junior, I was, an offensive guy. And, when I, came into the NHL, it was, obviously a heavy focus on defending in this league. And because you're not going to make it anywhere if you can't do that. So I think a lot of my attention, went to that side of the game. And I think I improved, a lot, defensively, when I first came into the league. And now for me, I think, try to round out my game a little bit more and kind of get back to that, offensive side and those instincts that I did have when I was in junior, and not obviously lose the defensive part, but try to take a step on the other side of the ice as well.
So that was Nick Hague talking about getting better offensively. I thought back to Andrew Brunette a couple of weeks ago after they originally signed him, and he started talking about offensively there's a part of his game that they feel has not been unlocked yet in the NHL. I'm looking at his numbers, Joe. I mean, Hague, his career high in points for a season is 17. He had 17 points in 2021, 5 goals, 12 assists. He hit 17 again in 2022-23 in 81 games where he had 3 goals that year. So you're talking about a guy that has been, 5 goals, 4 goals, 3 goals, 5 goals this last year in Vegas. There hadn't been a whole lot of offense there. So it makes me wonder, all right, taking the next step offensively, what does that mean? Where are you getting to offensively? Because, you look back in junior and his last year in the OHL, he had 78 points in 67 games. He had 35 goals, 43 assists. And that's good. That's really good for a defenseman. But this is a pretty long body of work at this point in the NHL. It's 364 games that he's played in the NHL where there just hasn't been very much offense. So I understand some of that could be lack of opportunity, could be the rest of the defensemen that he was behind in Vegas. But I doubt very seriously that it's under the surface here, Nick Hague is some 50-point guy back there, and they've been holding him back like the leash has been on in Vegas. So I wonder what that's going to look like.
If so, tip of the cap, Barry. Everybody's got to apologize to Barry if all of a sudden there's an offensive avalanche coming from Nick Hague.
Maybe so.
Can he facilitate offense? Is there some, even if the numbers aren't there?
Well, look, he can play on the left and the right, and I know people roll their eyes at that sometime, but not everybody can do that. Not every defenseman in the NHL can play on both sides well, effectively. Ekholm could do it. Yossi obviously can do it, but not everybody can play on both sides over there. So he talked about that a little bit yesterday. I'm interested to see how they view that. If I had to guess right now, this is probably who's going to be playing with Yossi, if I had to guess right now. So, I don't know exactly what that's going to mean. But if you're wanting more opportunity to play and more opportunity to produce offense, playing with Roman Yossi on the top pair, you're going to get it. So we'll see how equipped you are for it.
Yeah. If you're a Preds fan right now, as soon as Robby said those words, you may have cringed, but that is a different kind of opportunity. And then sometimes guys in very different situations than they've been in look a little different as players.
Yeah.
Clearly between what Trotz said, between what Elliot Friedman said on our station about the teams that were falling all over themselves, I mean, I'll just speak for myself. I apologize, Nick Hague. I did not understand your game.
Yeah, I mean,
what
look.
did Shaq say? I did not know your game.
Yes,
Something-
yes. I mean,
But we need to see it.
Clearly, there are still, and I saw some even yesterday when some of the quotes started coming out from Nick Hague. Like, there are some Predators fans that when you saw the deal that they signed him to, the extension, there's sticker shock there where you're like, what did they just do? Like, why are they giving what has been largely, kind of a third pairing type of guy that long of a contract? I thought the Elliot Friedman reporting on all this was really interesting. Like, he was like, he came out and said, like, if you wanted Nick Hague, that was what it's going to cost. Like, that's the cost it was going to be. And apparently there was some pretty heavy interest in Nick Hague around the league. And there were some trades that did not go through because he would not sign an extension at those places, and he would here. So look, I'm still not saying that it's a great move. We'll see what happens. There's a lot that he's going to have to prove with an elevated role here. But I guess I at least feel better about it that Barry Trotz is not on some island here, giving him a 4-year deal at $5.5 million per deal. Like, I trust Elliot Friedman's not just throwing that out there. Like, I trust Elliot Friedman's reporting on that.
Yes. It all seems a little bit less reckless than it did on day one.
It does.
Day one was like, what is happening right now?
I didn't really know what they were doing.
By the way, Shaq, I was not familiar with your game. I apologize.
All right.
Nick Hague, I was not familiar with your game.
We'll see what it looks
Still
like.
not familiar with your game. We'll see.
We're going to find out. You're going to be familiar pretty quickly coming up next year. So we'll see. We'll see
He's
what that
playing
looks like.
25 minutes a night,
That's true. Can confirm. And he's every bit of 6'6". That guy's huge. 6'6", 245 is what he's listed at. And he looks every bit of 6'6", 245 pounds. And apparently, I got to the bottom of this yesterday, has a great relationship with Jonathan March. So they live down the street from each other in Vegas, and they're very good friends. So bringing in some culture pieces.
That's what we're talking about.
Marchie in there. Yeah, there we go.
Make sure he's happy.
Yep. I mean, I do find it interesting, and I know that this probably was not the plan because, let's get real here. I don't know at the end of the day that, if Steven Stamkos is feeling bad about the way things are going, it's like, oh, good, you brought in Perbix. Now I feel a lot better. But it is funny to me that the two significant moves they've made this offseason was a defenseman from the Lightning and a defenseman from Vegas.
Let's bring in some Thunder buddies so everybody can be happy in the locker room.
Many Lightning and Vegas Golden Knights people in here as we possibly can. And then Eric Hall.
And also Eric
Who was
Hall.
he also played for Vegas, so there is some familiarity there. 615-737-1025, our phone number. 615-737-1025. I've got a question for the football fan around here that I actually think is pretty interesting. We'll get into that coming up next.
I do too.
Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning. Live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. We will have Ryan McGee on the program coming up at 7:30 from ESPN and Marty and McGee, so looking forward to that. The Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode later this hour at 7:45, all that coming up. Taking your thoughts in the meantime, 615-737-1025. Joe, I've got a philosophical question for football fans around here that hopefully touches, all the major football teams that we care about in this area. SEC football, major high-level football, and the NFL, of course. So I got this question for you. The next 5 years, because going anything beyond that's hard to sit here and predict. But the next 5 years, what is most likely? A Super Bowl for the Titans, a national championship for Tennessee, a college football playoff appearance for Vanderbilt. I thought about going SEC championship for Vanderbilt, but I didn't want to go too crazy with this. So
that's the right one.
The college football playoff is going to get to 16. So, Vanderbilt's not going to it's not going to be impossible for them to make that. So, most likely in the next 5 years in your mind, a Super Bowl for the Titans, a national championship for Josh Heupel and the Vols, a playoff appearance for the Vanderbilt Commodores.
That's a very good question.
Thank you.
Because I could make a case for all three. I'm going to, and I know it's hilarious to say this right now, but I'm going to say Titans Super Bowl.
Okay.
It's because the NFL is built for everyone to have a chance and to be able in a couple of years to bounce into contention. And so right now, without seeing one snap of Cam Ward in an NFL game, I have to go there. It's feasible that he could be a great pick, and that in a few years they could be. Obviously, that means that Bergonzi's really good / Brinker. Let's not forget Chad and Callahan. Probably. You could still make it the next 5 years with a coaching change, but probably him. I would think. And again, it's just the NFL. There's just not that big of a difference. There's a big, you think the best team in the Titans right now. There's a big difference. But still, compared to college football and, just winning a national championship, I think the Vols will be in the tournament in the next 5 years, but winning the national championship. And look, Vanderbilt playoff appearance, man, I still would probably rank that third of the three. It's close because winning the national championship is very hard. Like you said, it's going to get to 16. That it's not crazy. It's not. We'll have to see. This is a huge year for them to benefit from Pavia being there, build off that, and see where they can go from that.
You want to hear a hot take?
Yeah.
I think the Vols winning the national championship is third on this list and a somewhat distant third.
Do you? Okay.
For this reason, I'm totally with you on the Titans in the Super Bowl. It's the NFL. If the path for the Titans getting in that conversation is if Cam Ward is what they think he is, well, then 5 years from now, they're probably going to be in that conversation. If he's what they think he is.
Yeah, exactly.
If he's what they drafted him to be and what they obviously believe that he can be, well, then 3, 4, 5 years from now, they should be pretty darn good. So I know, again, like you said, it's hilarious to sit here and talk about a Super Bowl of the Titans right now. I realize that. But if Cam Ward is what they believe that he could be, then 3, 4, 5 years from now, they ought to be in that mix. So let's just start there on the NFL front. Frankly, all of these are unlikely. So let's just make that clear. But that's why it's a good question. Vanderbilt getting in the playoff when it gets to 16. I still don't think is likely just because of the quality of competition that's going to be in the SEC.
Every program
is invested. It's still going to be really hard. So I'm not sitting here saying that Vanderbilt is on the precipice of becoming some college football playoff team every year. But could you catch lightning in a bottle? Could you continue some positive momentum? Could NIL continue to be a weapon for you? Can you recruit if you're Clark Lee? And 1 year, can the schedule, can your roster, can your quarterback play, can all that line up for you in 1 year where you go I don't know, 9-3 and get in like as the back door of the playoff there. Like I'm not gonna totally discount that possibility. I think one thing we learned last year when you watched that Ohio State and Tennessee game, and I don't want to overreact to one game, but I think it's illustrative of how hard it is to win a national championship right now, unless you are Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan to a certain degree, although they're a little bit different. Like those type of teams that just have the profile where they recruit really well. They've got all the money in the world. And I don't think Tennessee is like short on money or anything like that. But I still think that Tennessee and Josh Heupel have done a really good job, and they've really done a good job of rebuilding the program and building their roster. But I still think there's a difference between what their roster is and what the elite rosters are in college football. And a big talking point right now is, are you ever going to get to the point where you're competing with the Georgias and the Alabamas and the Ohio States on a consistent basis in terms of just straight up quality of your roster, top to bottom? I think they're good. I don't think that they're elite at that right now. And that's a hard level to get to.
They might have had a better roster than Michigan last year, although Michigan's main thing was quarterback. But yeah, I mean, that's the team that I don't know. I don't know.
The one thing for Tennessee that it will take to do this is elite level quarterback play.
Right.
If you get that, then you got a shot. Like, who knows? I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about, the recruits that they've got coming in because of today's landscape of college football. They got the Faison Brandon kid committed to him. We'll see, number one, if that stays. Number two, if he ever actually sees the field when he gets here. And number three, how good he is. So there's still a nice checklist we got to get through to get to all that. But like if he comes in and he's just great, well, then you're going to have a shot at that point. But there's a lot of to me, that's the hardest of all of these to me.
And if you're one of those teams with one of those rosters, Texas, definitely throw in that category too, but you don't have great quarterback play, then that's also where you can be, then that's where you can fade into the crowd a little bit. Although it's funny too, because Texas, of course, last year wasn't too far from winning it, and they had above average QB play, but that's how loaded they were. So you're right. Like those very top rosters, they're not there. Can they get there? I mean, it's just, it is development, and it's identifying players, it's choices. I mean, look, I feel like for example, they got the 5-star offensive tackle in now.
Yep.
Like that stuff needs to work out that particular area, not to get Brandon all fired up on YouTube chat, but that particular area, I mean, I think they've obviously had some misses. Now, it's not like they were missing on kids who are out of left field, but they haven't been able to build a homegrown offensive line. So that's to me still where you start. But yeah, if Brandon comes in and he is everything they think, then I think they have enough of a talented roster to be a contender.
I mean, they have basically been on like the back end of the top 10 when it comes to recruiting rankings. Sometimes depending on where you look, they've been 8th. Sometimes they've been 12th. I think right now for 2026, depending on where you look, they're anywhere from 13th to like 15th or 16th. So that's good. It's not great. Like but again, like there's so much more that goes into it now. All right, your high school recruiting. How much of that roster do you retain 2 years from now? How much do you add in the transfer portal? Like there's so much that's different about it now. I don't know if it's just straight up, hey, look at this person. Or look at this program. They've got the number 3 recruiting class. They're going to have a chance. But I do still think that there's going to be a correlation to that from top to bottom in your roster. Like you're going to be able to retain your roster enough where that's going to still matter at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I still think we're going to see the top recruiting classes, probably the same programs be there, and then those programs be the best title contenders. But then it's obviously what you do with the retention. But then are you going out and getting enough players? Some Tennessee fans don't think Heupel does enough going out and finding guys. I mean, he has certainly found some important players in the portal. Could he be more aggressive? Is that part of the equation that needs to increase a little bit for him? Maybe at times.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. Like this year's going to be an interesting case study. Like they when you look, especially on offense for them this year, they're pretty young. Like they got a pretty young roster on the offensive side of things. You know, depending on who plays quarterback, we'll see. But at wide receiver, they're young. Offensive line, they're young. So, like, let's say they go 8-4 this year or whatever it is. Do you look at that if you're Heupel and you say, all right, well, we got Merklinger, George McIntyre, and now this Faison Brandon kid all coming up together. Probably going to lose one of them. I don't know who it's going to be, but you're probably going to lose one of them via trying to hold on to your roster after that.
You hope not to.
You hope
it could
not
be
to,
two.
but it could be two. But I think you're definitely going to lose one at some point. So do you take a look at quarterback again in the portal after this year? Or do you look at like the youth of your roster and, you know, they'll all gain a year of experience this year, but is that the time maybe to be aggressive in the portal and go bring in some offensive linemen and go bring in some wide receivers? Like it's that part of it is going to be really interesting. But saying all this is why it's so hard to win a national championship. Like I think they have reached the point where it's fair to expect them to be in the playoff conversation on a yearly basis. Doesn't mean they're going to make the playoff every year, but they've reached the point where most years making the playoff should be a realistic goal for them. But to me, there's still a big difference between, especially as this thing expands, making the playoff and actually being a threat to win a championship. Those are two very different things.
Yeah. And look, I mean, last year's team at times, as well as they played defensively. So, look, a lot of people thought they were going to go up and win at Ohio State, but also people thought Ohio State might be dead.
Yeah, I think that had more to do with people thought Ohio State was just about to mentally fall apart.
Yeah, it turned out to be just a terrible pairing for them, having to go to that stadium for a freaking primetime game against that loaded team. The $20 million team, which is cheap now in college football. But I could make a case that they could have made a run of some kind. Like Arizona State last year was so close to beating Texas. And that's the thing you do. One and done. Any given day. It certainly doesn't apply to football like it does to say basketball.
Yeah.
But it's possible that they could make a run without being all the way built up to a complete powerhouse that there's no question about it. But I think that's where, I do think that's where, like, you have to have a special, like, Arizona State, of course, had Scadaboo. Also, their quarterback was, like, pretty freaking good. Like, that's where you have to have someone who sort of elevates you. Look at Florida State a couple years ago with Jordan Travis and without,
Yeah.
Could have won it all. Thank goodness they didn't get in the playoff.
Yeah. 615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on this coming up next. What's most likely in the next 5 years? Titans winning the Super Bowl, Tennessee winning a national championship, Vanderbilt making the college football playoff when it expands to 16. A lot of different thoughts on this. We have a couple different thoughts on Jesus being more likely to come back before all those things happen. So
will he let Vandy in if he does come back before they get in?
Who knows? We'll take more of your thoughts on that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Throwing it out there, what's most likely in the next 5 years? Titan Super Bowl, Vols Natty, or Vanderbilt college football playoff appearance?
Someone says rapture before. Rapture will happen before any of those
We have
things
a couple
happen.
different votes for that.
Our favorite White House correspondent, Joey Garrison, formerly my coworker at the Tennessean. Has
Oh, yeah.
weighed
Joey
in.
and I went to high school together.
There
too.
you go.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, he just said that the long history of quick NFL turnarounds suggests Titans winning the Super Bowl. He's also a Vandy. I'm very disappointed he didn't vote for
With
Vandy.
Vandy college football playoff?
And by the way, he just posted a story about both Harbaugh brothers visiting Trump in the Oval Office. So
Oh, okay.
it's very exciting.
How
I'll
about
have to
that?
check that out.
Let's do
That
our,
must have been a heck of a conversation.
let's head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in our buddy Mark in Nashville. Mark, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, what's going on, Robby? How you doing, Joe? Good
What's up,
morning,
Mark?
fellas. Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Hey,
man.
a couple of things. Joe, the transfer portal has become the most important thing in college football. It's not having the number one recruiting class. If you got a number one recruiting class in the portal and with experienced guys, that's what's elevating these programs to get to the playoffs and win a national championship. No, Tennessee won't get there. I don't think. I really don't think so. I hate to tell you that, ball fans. I don't see that. Just going to the playoffs, Robby, is not going to be enough. They got to win a natty. They got to. And Vanderbilt, Joe, unless they go 1AA, they're not going to win a national championship
Man.
or even get to the playoffs in any kind of way. But the Titans, I could possibly see that because they're going to have to put some playmakers around Cam and improve that roster. I could see that maybe happening. But Joe, I wanted to tell you something before I get off the phone. Listen to me clear on this. I know Big Joe hassles you all the time and hazes you and all this and that, but I got the solution to that problem. Big Joe likes to eat breakfast tacos, breakfast burritos.
He does.
Hey, Joe, what we need to do is fix him up one with some 10-day-old chitlins, some hot sauce, some jalapenos,
Sabotage.
with some bad scrambled eggs, wrap it up and let him eat that. And he better have some facilities around once he eats that, and he will leave you alone for good, Joe.
Okay.
That's what we'll do to him.
I don't know that I want to deal with the fallout of that, but I mean, I like the idea.
Hey, Joe, you know I got your back, man. Don't even worry about that. I got
appreciate
your back,
it. He's defending me against Jared and Big Joe now. I appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. We
Yeah.
appreciate
man.
it.
Right, always. Yeah, don't bring Steelman in this mix, man. I'm having a good day. Please don't bring that name up.
There we go. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it, buddy.
Hey, y'all have a good weekend. See you, Robbie.
You
Joe,
too.
Ian, see y'all, man.
All right, Mark.
You're
Mark
fading him out like a song there.
Mark
Yeah.
immediately went to mess with his food. Get his food
Just
tainted.
Just absolute. I mean, why not just melt some X-Lax instead and just make that part of the refried beans? Just go all out, man. He does like breakfast tacos. So the thing is, I'm going to disagree a little bit. So, like, look at Ohio State last year, for example. They won it all. Now, they did have a quarterback from the transfer portal. So
And a running back.
there is that. They did have a running back. They also had a great running back aside from him.
Yep.
Like most of their spending, if you look at their entire team, they're starting 22, most of their spending was retaining guys. And
Yeah, it's roster retention.
And the biggest difference maker in that team was the freshman who came in the recruiting class. You're still, of course, the transfer portal is huge. You have to use it. You have to avoid getting crushed by it. Huge.
That's probably the main thing. Yeah.
Right. But I believe that 10 years from now, we're going to look at the national champions, and Ohio State certainly qualifies, and we're going to compare and we're going to match those up with high school recruiting classes, and we're going to see a positive correlation. I totally believe that.
Well, there are people that think that the Vanderbilt part of this is laughable. And I understand. Trust me. I understand the history of Vanderbilt football and the idea of them making college football playoff. I get it. I do. I will say, like, think about last year. Last year, you got quarterback play from Diego Pavia that was some of the best quarterback play that we've seen come in and out of Vanderbilt. And not just from the way he played, but the way he captivated the team, like everything about it. It was just fun to watch. And go back and look at their schedule. Like, they got a brutal schedule last year. And sometimes, especially with conference expansion being what it is now, Joe, sometimes you get the luck of a draw with your schedule, and sometimes you don't in the conference. Like there's an imbalanced schedule right now where there are just going to be some teams on a yearly basis that have to end up playing like 5 top 15 teams and other teams in the same conference that don't play any of them. Like it's just that's how it's going to go
For sure.
sometimes.
That's
So-
why these massive conferences are stupid.
So when you've got that, and then you have the college football playoff expanding to 16, all I'm saying is all it takes is one time where the stars kind of align that way. It's not the craziest thing to think that that could be a possibility. And again, you're not talking about having to go 12-0 to get in the 16-team playoff. Like 9-3 is going to get you in at some point, depending on the year and the fall and the draw and all that. So I don't think that part of it, if you look at it that way, is as crazy as it may sound on the surface.
Yeah, no, it is hard to. I think in the SEC in particular, like you really have to have it fall your way. To there's just so few obvious breaks. I mean, I suppose in that given year, you probably want Mississippi State on there.
Yeah.
Now, no, but programs rise and fall.
They do.
And they've beaten Florida and Kentucky here recently. So, and Alabama. So I mean, there is that. Auburn has been down. They won at Auburn last year. But it definitely has to fall your way, and you probably still are going to have to pull off a win or two that you absolutely should not. If you're
for sure.
I mean, like that's like it's not going to be that light, But yeah, 9-3 gets you in at 16. Not everybody. There's probably going to be some 3-loss teams that lose out, but schedule strength. And that's where it's interesting too. It's like schedule strength. The SEC is pushing so hard for it. If you're the team that gets the break that year, well, maybe your schedule strength isn't as great actually, but I still feel like most 9-3 SEC football teams moving forward when it is 16 are going to be.
You're going to have a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, the bottom line is, like, if you want to assign a percentage to it, what are the chances that the Titans win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years, Vols win a national championship, or Vandy makes the college football playoff? It's probably about a 97% chance that none of those things happen, right? Like, just being real. So you have to keep that in mind when you have these type of discussions. I hate to throw some cold water on y'all this morning, but like it's just the odds are
3%. Hey man, that's a real chance.
It's probably high actually, but we'll see when you really break it down. I mean, Super Bowl, a national championship.
Yeah,
those are hard things to do.
Vanderbilt in the playoff. Yeah.
I mean, the Titans have never had a Super Bowl. Vols haven't won a national title since '98. It's a hard thing to do, man. It's really hard.
And Vanderbilt absolutely would have been in the playoff if it was instituted in 1907.
That's true. It's true. So I'm just saying
they would have kicked some butt of Army and who else was great then? Princeton.
Yeah,
they would have kicked some Princeton butt in the playoff in 1907.
Yeah, I mean, Jason Goatsville says Vandy's returning 19 starters, top 5 SEC quarterback, top tight end in the nation, plucked 2 highly ranked offensive linemen from the portal. If they were to win at South Carolina and get to 4-0, it ain't crazy this year to make the college football playoff. They could also start 1-3, but the roster's pretty solid right now.
No, look,
schedule does not.
If you tell me
schedule is not kind for them this year.
The schedule is not kind, but the problem is, first of all, it's 12 this year, so there's one. There's one part of it, but still, I mean, I don't know what future teams will look like. I think that they've got a good thing going, but I'd still like if I had to, pick a year that'll happen, it'd be this one. I'd still pick this one because I think Pavia is. I mean, Virginia Tech in the opener, that's tough. Or I'm sorry, they give Charleston Southern warm up, and then Virginia Tech. Man, Virginia Tech's going to want to beat them, and they're not bad, and they could easily lose that game. But you know what? They can win it, and I think South Carolina is a sneaky, potentially really good team this year. I don't like their chances there in that one. I don't like their chances at Alabama. I don't like their chances at Texas. So, but then look at everything else. Could they win everything else and then head into Knoxville at the end with a chance to get in at 8-3? Yeah, I think they actually could. I'm not predicting that they will, but it's not crazy.
No, 615-737-1025. Our phone number. Ryan McGee from ESPN will join us coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 1025-1063 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Talking a little college football, and to help us do that, we head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in our buddy Ryan McGee from ESPN and Marty and McGee. Ryan, good morning, brother. How we doing?
I'm good. We're going to Atlanta, so I guess I better get ready.
I guess so. I do want to get into some college football with you, but I have to start with what I believe may be the most Ryan McGee tweet I've ever seen, and that is your discovery of messing around with AI the other day and combining the Star Wars Starfighter with Richard Petty's Dodge Charger. Beautiful stuff on your end. Is AI going to be just kind of a new obsession for you now?
Well, AI. You guys know I'm a big sci-fi guy, and we're just handing everything over to the robots and the AI, and I don't get it. It's like, have you ever seen a damn movie? Because I know where this is going. I'm not sure what we're doing, but work was like, hey, just fill around. We got an idea. And so I started messing around with it. Literally, the first thing I ever put into AI was, what if we did an X-wing that looked like Richard Petty's 1974 Racer's Edge Dodge Charger? And
Obviously,
clearly, right? And without me even asking, it basically put it in Bristol Motor Speedway. I'm like, all right, AI, I was already inside my brain. And I looked at my wife and I go, damn it, this is cool. I didn't want this to be cool. I wanted it to be scary.
Yeah, seriously, like Terminator came out like we were little kids. Like we knew right then, let's not mess with this stuff. And yet here we are. Right?
It's literally every movie. Like every movie, Marty. So there's a great. The people at the University of Texas are still mad at me and Marty because last year we did the show for the first time ever in Austin. It was awesome. And but they have this robotics department, and they brought a robot out, like this robot dog. And the robot, there's a picture of me and Marty completely terrified because this dog like stands up and looks at us. And I'm like, I've seen the movie Minority Report with Tom Cruise 30 times. It's all happening. We're just doing it. We're voluntarily doing it. So anyway, but whatever. But it is what it is. I'm of a certain age now where it'll be my daughter's problem.
Well, there's that. And I was told as a kid to never get in the car with a stranger, and now it's all we do, like Uber, all this other stuff.
No, it's it every day. Every day. And then we're really shocked when they're weird.
Yeah.
No, we knew that was coming.
So, Ryan, I want to get your thoughts on the Arch Manning experience that we're about to go through. Number one, I mean, Texas's roster is unbelievable. They're going to be really good this year. We all know that. But, the way that he's kind of handled things to this point and, the patience that he's displayed and waiting his turn, it's going to be really interesting to see how he plays this year. But what do you make of kind of the situation that he's walking into, how he's handled it to this point? And what realistic expectations should be for him this year?
Well, I mean, the expectation is you go to the playoff. I mean, that's where they were last year. I mean, they probably should have played for a national championship. And so, if you're the guy that they think was better than the guy that almost got them to the national championship game, then, good luck. I mean, that's the pressure. But, listen, I go back to, I'm just a tick older than Peyton Manning. But you guys know I went to Tennessee, and I remember when Peyton came to Tennessee, and I remember the pressure that came with that. And I remember what I believe was way more pressure, which was when Eli went to Ole Miss. And all Eli did was took Ole Miss to heights that they did not see since his dad was there, and played on New Year's Day and the Cotton Bowl and all those things. So it's not like they don't know it. And I've been very impressed with how he handles things. His dad, Coop's the man.
Yeah.
I mean, Cooper is the fun Manning, and he's so smart. And so the way they've handled all of this, and the one time I've ever had a conversation with Arch, since he got to college, we talked about his grandfather, and I worship Archie, and he leans on him every single day. And so it's not like he doesn't have the support group, but he's going to have to perform. And what's going to be interesting is how does he handle it the first time he plays badly, and that's coming. I mean, the schedule's too tough. The schedule's way. I mean, game one. I mean, good luck. And so we'll find out how well he handles it. And but he's the guy. I mean, there's not really. I mean, they're deep, but he's it. And so I'm really, really curious to see how he handles it. And that'll start with how he handles next week's circus when we get down to Atlanta.
Yeah, and I think credit to Sarkisian for bringing him too, because I think some coaches might have tried to avoid that, but I think it's better to just face up to it. But I'm with you. I'm so impressed by obviously everything they've done, everything you read about it, like they've done it. Like, I mean, it's like just parenting in general. I'm like, gee, I wish I did that and that and that. And obviously he's such a balanced kid considering all this. But I also look at, people just assuming he's going to be like number one overall pick level QB. Right. We just don't know that right now, right? I just think sometimes the conversation about him as a player needs some serious brake pumping.
Yeah, and what have we seen in the past? I mean, what did Michael Jordan's boys do playing basketball, right? I mean, Mickey Mantle Jr. I mean, look, sure. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is a great friend of mine, and he'll be the first one to tell you, if he'd have won 4 championships, it wouldn't have mattered. He was never going to be as great as his dad. Kyle Petty, I literally am having coffee with Kyle Petty tomorrow, and that we talk about it all the time. And it's just, to handle that takes a special breed, and there's a special club. Kyle Petty always tells me the story about back when he tried to be a country music star, and one of the all-time great people. But he talks about one time he opened for Hank Williams Jr. and had never met him, and was sitting on the bus or whatever, just noodling around with the guitar, warming up, and all of a sudden, Bo Cephas got on the bus and sat down. They'd never met, and they had a 2-hour in-depth conversation about being the son of the man. Mm. And there's just the club that you're in. And so the way that Arch is handled, but you're exactly right. It's not just about what he does against Ohio State. It's about, what he does during his 2 years, however long it is going to be in Arlington as a quarterback. But then it's also, what do you do after that? And again, the Mannings handled these things professionally. They've all been there. The boys were all there when it came to their dad. And so it's really, really going to be interesting to watch. But, knock on wood, he's handled it all so well so far. And I'm really impressed by the fact that he took no NIL money. He did no interviews. He did that big interview with Marty in January, right after the national championship game, because that's when he knew he was going to be the quarterback. And prior to that, he would not do anything. And it certainly wasn't for lack of us asking, because we asked all the time.
Ryan, what do you make of kind of the Bill Belichick situation in North Carolina? How do you think this is going to go as he makes the transition to college football and tries to build that program in North Carolina?
All right, so I grew up in North Carolina. I went to school in Tennessee. I lived in Connecticut for a couple of years when I started ESPN. Other than that, I've lived in North Carolina my whole life. I grew up in the Triangle. My dad was an ACC referee for 30 years. I am a front row witness to Tar Heel football, and they have always been at the top of my list of programs where you go, how are they not better at this? The last time they won the ACC, Lawrence Taylor was playing linebacker.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's all you need to know about North Carolina football. And so I wrote this column when Belichick got the job back in December, which is, I'm really curious to see how North Carolina takes who might be the greatest coach in the history of the NFL and turns it into a solid 8-win Dukes Mayo Bowl season, because that's what they do. and we had Michael Lombardi, who, we all know Mike from his media days, but Mike's now the general manager of North Carolina football. And we had him on Marty McGee a couple weekends ago, and he got all fired up because I asked about the girlfriend. And he wasn't mad, but he just was like, it wasn't a distraction in the building. That's a lie. It's a total lie. I know everybody in that building. And so I'm just curious to see how it goes. But it's going to be fascinating. I mean, it's going to be, but I'm telling you right now, there's no way this doesn't end, again, with them peaking at 9 wins and maybe coming to see you guys and playing in the Music City Bowl. That's it. I mean, we'll see. But until North Carolina proves otherwise, that's kind of what I got. Because part of their problem too is that, they're having to recruit against South Carolina, who's suddenly really, really good, think they might be a playoff team. And Tennessee, is back getting guys out of North Carolina again. And, oh, by the way, Clemson looks really, really good again. And so he's kind of catching them at a weird time. But it's going to be – again, as a sicko person who grew up watching North Carolina football trip over its own foot for my entire life. I'm just really curious to see how they manage to do it again, because they're going to. And it's going to be. I will probably be returning from an SEC from doing Marty McGee on Saturday morning and landing in Charlotte and driving to Chapel Hill a couple times this year just because I want to witness it.
So we've been talking about a lot of fun stuff here with Ryan McGee. I hate to be this guy, but the NIL Go stuff, now they're putting more restrictions on it. We got some stuff going on in Congress. I mean, is the immediate bleep show this has become any surprise to you at all, Ryan? And is there anything other than collective bargaining in some form as an answer at some point?
No, that's the only answer. And the answer is you're going to be employees, and the answer is you're going to be under contract, and the answer is there's going to be salary caps, and the answer is it's going to look like the NFL, and I hate it. I hate it. And it's not – I have no issue with athletes making money. Zero. I have no problem with that at all. But what I have continued to preach is I don't understand why the end game of everything that collegiate athletics is doing right now is to try to look like the NFL. I don't really watch the NFL, and it's not because I don't like it. I like college football, and trying to structure the postseason so that it looks like the NFL, and trying to, now we got free agency, and now we're talking about contracts, and now we're literally having conversations now about so-and-so signed the contract for X. We're going to have these conversations next week in Atlanta. If I wanted to cover the NFL, I'd cover the NFL. And what I worry about is as long as Saturday, when you go to the stadium, looks and feels like Saturday, baseline, everything's going to be okay. But we're bumping up against screwing with that too. And so that's my biggest concern is, this obsession with making college football at the highest level, because we're going to an NFC, AFC model. It's happening. We're going to do it. And when all these things happen and Saturday is AAA baseball for the NFL, what are we doing? That's the part I worry about. We've always had an advantage on the NFL because it's always had more heart, and because it's always had more passion, and because it's always had those unique things about college football. And everything that we do to make it look like the National Football League, don't be mad if people stop watching you to watch the National Football League. I love the Sounds, but if the Braves are playing next door to the Sounds, you're probably going to go to the Braves game.
Yep.
And so that part, I just don't. I do not. It's kind of like we're talking about with the AI and the robots as a joke, but it's true. I see the future, and you cannot drive that way if you don't want to. But everybody seems really, really obsessed with becoming the NFL, and I just don't get it.
Amen. Preaching to the choir here. Ryan, great stuff, brother. Good to hear from you. Have fun at SEC Media Days next week, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, boys. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Ryan
Thanks,
McGee, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode, does an outstanding job at ESPN. We'll react to what Ryan had to say. Take your thoughts on that. 615-737-1025. Got the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025-1063 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
If Tom Brady farted and you put it into a fragrance, I'd buy it.
What are you farting doing, man?
In that game, he's a big Rage Against the Machine fan.
Oh, man, this emeritus is really acting up again.
You imagine getting the amoritis and the gout together.
What were we going to talk about this segment?
Well, it was about Rand cooking, and now we lost that. That's okay.
Are we taping or what are we doing?
No, we're live.
Live. No, we're letting you start the whole thing over.
I was going to can your ass, but you big Rage Against the Machine fan, we're keeping you on. Fart you, I won't do what you tell me. Fart you, I won't do what you tell me. Fart you, I won't do what you tell me. Fart you, I won't do what you tell me. Oh, God. It is that time of the day. Time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. I think that one took Joe out. That was unbelievable work by Ian.
Good God. You're not allowed to. When someone says something stupid, you can't like replay it over and over. That just multiplies the stupidity of it.
I mean, it was right in the middle of this, right, fit perfectly in the song. It
was
beautiful.
It was very rhythmic, actually. Foxes beware. You are going down a blaze of bullets.
I got one.
God. I don't remember what I was going to rant about. I don't even feel ranty today. I'm gonna be seeing Dave Matthews Band tonight, so we're in a good mood around the Rexrode home. So I think I want to continue this conversation that we just had with Marty.
Where's the Dave show?
In what we call Deer Creek, what is officially called Ruoff, Indy.
Indy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But yes, it's known as Deer Creek. That was amazing. That was amazing work.
What did I just What just happened?
That was, oh boy. Oh baby.
That was, I'm here to say that was the greatest one ever.
As Jeff says,
it was the absolute GOAT.
Ian is the undisputed mashup king. Seriously, man. He gets you on a stage with a couple turntables. But I want to go back to something that Ryan just said there, because I don't disagree with anything he said. And we've talked a lot about this. Like, college football is its own thing. It can't be the NFL. I also, a couple things that he said that if we had more time, I would have followed up. One is, when you say it's going to be the NFC and the AFC, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about, an NFC and AFC that's just basically the Big Ten and SEC? Because
that's how I took it.
Yeah, and I've said this before, I don't see that. I don't see that. And I hope I'm right. I certainly could be wrong, but I don't think the exclusion is going to be that severe. I think anybody can look at this. I hope, okay, in a power position in college athletics, and there's still a lot of value in various programs in the big. Now, again, I guess it could be the Big Ten and SEC, but they're both 30 teams. Okay, right. Maybe, but then also I guess my argument back on becoming the NFL is like, what could have gone differently? Like, what is the move? Because right now, again, for people, I've referenced this to him briefly, but again, this NIL Go thing just came out yesterday and was like, basically like, none of these things are getting approved. So it's like, okay, well then the payment. Collective bargaining, that is very much like the NFL. And I understand people who are college football fans rolling their eyes and be like, why? But like, to me, it's like the only answer. So what could we have done differently? What could they have done differently along the path so that we aren't here today?
Well, I would say this. I would say they spent, the NCAA is where I'm going with this. They spent so long trying to stiff arm the idea of players getting paid. Like, they were just so against it for so long that by the time it finally came around, they had no clue what to do with it. They had no idea how to handle it. So, it's, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube now. But in retrospect, instead of just freaking out about it for 20 years, what you should have done is prepared for it.
Yeah.
You should have prepared for the one-day reality that players were going to get paid. And if you prepared for it and we're actually ready for it and we're taking some meaningful solutions to get there before it just all happened at one time, maybe we could have avoided the just wild, wild west of the transfer portal and what it is now. You could have had a better structure heading into that. Maybe you could have had more of a guideline on what the NIL looks like. I don't know. Like, again, right now, you're right. Like, at this point, it is what it is. It's going to be really hard to rein in. But I feel like really where this all started was the NCAA and their just stubbornness to not ever embrace this as long as they did.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think you hit on the exact thing. And that's my big question is, like, let's say they had just recognized this. I mean, look, I wrote a story this week on Michigan, Ohio State, and Michigan State. How Michigan State used to be the power, and then Michigan overtook them. And in that story, because we did like rivalry week this week at the Athletic, in that story, I had the salaries. So Bo Schembechler went from Miami of Ohio to Michigan, coach Michigan in 1969 for $21,000. Woody Hayes by 1973 was up to $29,300. Now, obviously, as everybody knows, you can say, well, yeah, that was, whatever, 50 plus years ago. But if you do that in today's dollars, you're still talking about $180,000.
Yep.
So, so the inflation there, the money has exploded so far beyond even like most of the history of college football. It was a good job. It was a prominent job. You could make a good living, but now you're wealthy beyond your dreams doing it. And that's where while the money is getting so out of control, are you not understanding how at some point it's going to be a real problem for you in a courtroom?
Exactly.
Right. So I go back to, covering Jim Delaney when he was a Big Ten commissioner, very good commissioner, but he just almost laughed at the idea that they should get anything more than room board scholarship. But that's still the question, though. Okay, so what if you had done it? What if you had done whatever, allowed for this earlier? I agree with you. Like, definitely prepare for it and plan for it. But do we still not get here? I don't know.
I don't know what the answer to that is. Like, I have. It's hard for me to believe that had they planned for this better, that we'd be in the mess with the transfer portal that we're in right now. Like that to me is where a lot of this starts.
And that didn't have to happen.
It didn't have to happen that way. And if you would have planned for it better, I realize that the old way of doing things where no matter when you transferred, you had to sit out a year was ridiculous. But whether it's a one-time transfer or one window or whatever it is, like, it just felt like they said, well, let's just do it. Open it up and it's free for all. And it felt like no effort went into planning for this. And we just got totally off the rails immediately.
Yeah. Now even the movement is part of limiting income, right? So in the eyes of judges. So that's, it's like, but then that's where, again, it's like at some point you come back to the people who, like, the labor.
But again, if you prepare for this, does it even get to the judges? Probably eventually.
That's I don't know.
It probably eventually does, right? Like, eventually, even if players were getting paid, somebody's going to look around and say, all right, well, I'm making this whatever stipend it would have been, but I'm worth way more than that. It eventually gets to the judges, but does it get to it in this fashion where you just go from 0 to 100 immediately?
But you do have to go back. I mean, I remember hearing about O'Bannon probably back in like 09 or 10.
Right.
And I think the case was finally resolved in 14. I think that's right.
I believe that's correct.
So, I mean, you'd have to go quite a ways back. And again, it's like, hey, you got these video games? Sure. Hey, let's sell the jerseys with the star player's number on them. No, that's no problem. And the coach is making $3 million.
Right. It is. I mean, when you look back through it, as he laid out, it's pretty amazing, like, where we are right now and where we're going. I don't know that it's ever going to be. I hope it's not. I hope it's not ever just, hey, here's the Big Ten and here's the SEC and here's everybody else around the country that's playing minor league college football. Like, I hope that's not what it is. Maybe structurally it doesn't get there. Now, I've heard people make the argument, even if that's not the way you structure it, if you have the Big Ten making as much money as they're making for long enough a period of time, and the SEC making as much money as they're making for a long enough period of time, eventually that's going to show up on the field where it's not even going to be close between them and everybody else.
Could be.
And maybe that's true. We'll see what happens.
Although
on that
I'd
front.
point to Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could be.
We'll see. But I'm hoping it's never. I mean, when he started talking about the AFC and the NFC part of this, I mean, it infuriates me to see if it gets there, if it gets to that point.
Yeah.
615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. Got some potential collusion going on in the NFL. We brought this up with Kuharski a couple of weeks ago, but some turns have been taken since then. So we'll get you the latest on the NFL and possible collusion. All that coming up. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership with the Buzz. It is always about great service. Tune in to ESPN 94.9 The Fan today as the Sounds take on Durham. Pregame beginning at 5:20. First pitch at 5:35. Coverage also available on the Game Nashville app and at thegamenashville.com. Sounds baseball on ESPN 94.9 The Fan, presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure. Normally joined by Teron Davenport at this time. He is traveling and will be back with us next week. So looking forward to that. Take your thoughts in the meantime. 615-737-1025, our phone number. So, Joe, we brought this up a couple of weeks ago with PK, but let's get to the latest on the collusion findings in the NFL. I'll just read the first couple of graphs here from an ESPN.com story. It says, quote, the NFL and senior leaders of the NFL Players Association struck an unusual confidentiality agreement that hid the details of an arbitration decision from players, including a finding that league executives have urged team owners to reduce guaranteed player compensation, multiple sources telling ESPN. On January 14th, arbitrator Christopher Droney ruled that there wasn't sufficient evidence of collusion by owners in contract negotiations with quarterbacks after the record fully guaranteed contract signed by Deshaun Watson in 2022. Any such collusion to keep salaries down would violate the CBA between the NFL and the Players Union, but Droney concluded that the NFLPA showed, quote, by a clear preponderance of the evidence that Commissioner Roger Goodell and the league's general counsel, Jeff Pash, had urged owners to restrict guaranteed money in player contracts. So what do you make of all that? What do you make of the idea of executives looking at the owners and saying, hey, let's make sure we get this player compensation down? And if that was found to be true, what that means for the NFL?
Well, first of all, let's give some credit to Pablo Torre, who his podcast, Pablo Torre Finds Out, I even was a little bit like, I don't know if I want to know this much about Bill Belichick's girlfriend, but thanks. He's taking some heat for here and there, but I mean, he was able to get his hands on the 61-page report that was basically 2 weeks ago that was never made available, which is insane. Like, the whole thing's insane to me. And what's the real impact here? I mean, look, this is pretty clear to me that, like you said, like the Watson thing freaks everybody out, and it should have. I mean, but you still can't collude.
Yep.
And so remember, like, all the conversation we had around the Lamar Jackson time, right? Like, man, no one seems interested in it. All this stuff. And you look back, and it's like, man, the Watson thing, which again was a terrible contract, has worked out even worse than I think anyone's wildest imagination, probably, right?
Yeah,
so
I would say so.
But the fact is, when you do something like that, the rest of the league, not only, they're mad at you because it's like, oh, so now every good quarterback is going to have a fully guaranteed contract. That's what we're doing now, So the owners collude. And, I mean, good thing for media, because the NFLPA, I mean, my goodness, how are you allowing this to happen where you're just not even getting this confidentiality agreement crap, and you're not getting the information on what happened in the meeting?
The NFLPA
it's pretty
sucks.
Bad. Yeah. Well, and so now, of course, you also have the executive director, Lloyd Howell Jr. He comes out that he's a paid consultant for a private equity firm that the NFL approved to pursue minority ownership stakes in franchises. So again, so he's like on the ownership side of things, and he's the NFLPA executive. It's what? How the heck does this guy ever get to this point? It's a complete bleep show for the players. So obviously they're appealing, but it's another example of if you don't have someone closely watching these people, if you don't have, and really on the union side, you've got to be, Gene Upshaw was a bulldog. You got to have someone like that to hold these people to account, or they're going to do things like this. And here's another example.
Yeah, it's wild. And, we talked a couple weeks ago about the Justin Herbert part of this as well, where, the Chargers owner was basically accused of collusion on the Justin Herbert contract as well, talking about, I think it was Kyler Murray and the deal that he signed. And it was basically like, oh, thank God that deal's a little bit lower. Let's get Justin Herbert's number down there too. Like, it's just, like, I'm sure a lot of that goes on behind closed doors, but it kind of leads to the larger discussion on this of, like, if you're the NFLPA and you suspect that this is happening behind the scenes, like, don't you have to fight this tooth and nail? Like, look, the NFLPA, and we talked about this with Garski a couple weeks ago, they're never really in position to go on strike or anything like that, right? Like, just the way that things are structured, the TV contracts, like the owners are getting paid. That's with whether the games are played or not, whether when it comes to the NFL and the TV contracts. So, like, if you're missing games, that's your game checks that you're missing. And with how finite an NFL career is, it's not a huge deal to Patrick Mahomes if you're missing a couple games, but it is a huge deal to people at the bottom end of your roster, which is why these things never happen. Like, most people. That's why the NFL players don't go on strike anymore, and you don't see these things happen, and it feels like they get pushed around a lot. But like on something like this, you would think there would be a little bit more of a fight than they've shown in this to this point.
I mean, everybody hated DeMaurice Smith, and he took a lot of crap. But my goodness, does he sound good right now to the players? Yeah. I mean, they've just been completely just had the wool pulled over their eyes here. It's yeah. So what does it mean? I mean, this is one of those things like, for the NFL fan, I mean, I feel like this story has faded very rapidly, and I get it. I mean, people want to talk about their teams, and they want to talk about, that some people would rather talk about alternate uniforms than this story, but it is a pretty big story, and it's going to be interesting to see what comes of this. I mean, the NFLPA needs to find some serious leadership out of this. I mean, obviously it's a problem, and where do things go? Like, how do we get closer to, especially with this almost as backlash, do we get closer to more guaranteed contracts or close to fully guaranteed contracts, quarterback guaranteed contracts? I mean, we all agree that the Deshaun Watson deal is a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, even if he was what they thought he was going to be or close to it, like, ridiculous. They went way overboard with it, but it's still like you can make the case considering how important that position is and the longevity, the general longevity of people at that position now, which is more than ever. That at least is a spot that you should have contracts that are almost fully. And I mean, Lamar Jackson ended up getting a good deal and got a good share of it guaranteed, but it'll be interesting to see where that goes to.
615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on this. I got a couple other thoughts on the NFL I want to get into coming up next as well. We'll do that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063, The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Got a pair of tickets to give away to see Coheed and Cambria at Ascend Amphitheater Wednesday, September the 3rd. Be caller number 3 at 615-737-1025. Caller 3 will win a pair of tickets to Coheed and Cambria at Ascend Amphitheater coming up on Wednesday, September the 3rd. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Joe, I've seen the top 25 worst coaching hires in the NFL in the last quarter century that CBS has come out with. Cody Benjamin put this together. It's very fascinating to go through here. I was seeing, I clicked on it because I was wondering if there was a certain Tennessee Titans coach that may have found his way onto the list, and that would be Ken Whisenhunt. He did not. Now, I think you could make an argument that maybe he should be. I mean, Ken Whisenhunt coached 23 games for the Titans and went 3-20, which is a 130 win percentage. Not very good.
Yeah, so it must be just because he did have the Super Bowl previously that
must be.
Is compared to, I'm sure a lot of these on the list are people who never did anything and never should have gotten the job.
There are some of those for sure. There are some very prominent names on the list as well, but it's a very fascinating list. I was telling you there are 3 separate Detroit Lions head coaches in the top 10.
Oh, baby.
None in the top 5, but 3 in the top 10.
So Rod Marinelli, Matt Patricia, and Marty Morningweg. I want to try to guess of who got ranked higher.
Okay.
See, to me, Marinelli's like, you got to be a coordinator, man. So I'm going to put him as the highest ranking of the bad hires, and I think he was the coach of that 0-16 team.
He was.
But Patricia's so close. Patricia was so bad and such a complete train wreck, and really has been just a train wreck as a coach, other than when he was in his happy place, in the Death Star in New England and was overestimated
and
as a
Brady
coach.
hasn't been his quarterback. He's been bad.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, of course, he was on D. He's a defensive guy. Yeah, right. Tom Brady made it, and then I guess I would go Morningweg. But Morningweg, we'll take the wind. There's an all-timer from an NFL coach. Good. We're in Soldier Field. It's overtime. This is back in the sudden death. You know what? We'll take the wind.
It's good stuff.
Good job, Marty.
Yeah. So
am I right?
Marinelli is number 10 on the list.
Oh.
Matt Patricia, number 9.
Okay.
Morningweg, number 7. Those are the worst hires of the last 25 years.
Oh, so I was wrong. I think, okay, I was wrong. But all of them very excellent choices.
2 Broncos in the top 5. Nathaniel Hackett coming in at number 5. We remember that one.
Whew.
Josh McDaniels at number 4, which is also bad. I would argue that Hackett was worse than McDaniels, but whatever. I mean, there was more stuff. Like I think wasn't it McDaniels that they got into it with Jay Cutler like before he even started the job there. Like it's like him and Jay Cutler got into it, and then he traded him.
Yeah. And he was pretty good, by the way. And it's very hard to be good at quarterback with the Chicago Bears. It doesn't happen in their history.
So there's actually 2 coaches that are tied for number 1 on this list. There's one.
You can't cop out.
So there's one that's ranked number 1, and then there's 1B on here that's just kind of a thrown together in there, which doesn't really count. Like, I mean, the Jets hired Bill Belichick, and he didn't coach a game for him. So does that really count? That's why he's 1B and not really on the list. He's just kind of off to the side.
Yeah, I mean, that's a disastrous situation, but like the idea was good.
Yeah, the idea was good.
Right. They had the right idea.
Do you have a guess as to who the number 1 worst coaching hire of the last 25 years is on this list?
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
I need.
Is it Urban?
I can neither confirm or deny.
It's got to be it.
Rural.
I think you just did it.
It's Urban.
Yeah. Well done.
Urban's number 1.
Well done.
I mean, it's hard to top.
Yeah.
Urban Meyer.
Old Rural. Got a level of Rural.
Oh, yeah. 2-11 as Jaguars head coach. And Cody Benjamin ends it this way. The worst part wasn't the losses, but the scandals sandwiched between them, none greater than a seemingly flirtatious trip to the bar captured in a viral video while the rest of the team flew home from defeat.
Do you remember?
Did they play the Titans like the week after that?
Oh yeah, no. Remember, I was there for the Titans, but it was like actually, if you could, mostly just watch Urban for the entire thing and write about him. Like, okay. So I just went on the field and watched Urban Meyer and all his interactions, including his fake, like, hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Handshake with Vrabel, and then wrote about his just bizarre.
What a time that was.
My goodness, what a time.
Why are you
What
holding your
a
hands
time.
like that?
I'm trying to get a question in here.
Well, then ask the question. No, I'm just saying, like, you look ridiculous.
God, what a jerk.
You think
Such a jerk.
you think Vrabel that time asked Urban what he was doing with his hands in that video?
That's a good point. That would have been a
What are
much
you
better
doing with
question
your
for him.
hands? Forget Rexrode. What are you doing with your hands out there?
Urban. My goodness. God. Yeah. Team playing. You guys
guys
go
held
back.
back.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang back a little bit, get
I'll
a
meet
couple
you at the
beers with
facility.
the boys. Yeah. Okay. My God. There were people.
You think he was reading the subscription to The Athletic in that bar too? Or was he emailing other writers?
Reading someone else's
Someone's email? Yeah.
Hey, do you have the Athletic
get a login?
app on your phone? Can I read it? Yeah. Do you know that story, Ian?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. So wrote about the 2012 Ohio State Buckeyes team and a lot about like Urban Meyer and all that stuff and how basically that Vrabel and a bunch of coaches came from that and all that stuff. So,
the coaching
so
tree
I talked to Urban for that, and then he asked me to email it to him because he doesn't have an athletic suit. I'm like, dude, it's like $9, dude.
How many millions have you
How many
made?
million? $9.
Crazy.
Yeah, but I sent it
Hey,
to him.
could you send that to me?
He enjoyed the story.
I can't afford that subscription there.
And the thing is, he was working in media at the time, which he still is.
Yeah.
If you're working in like
Sounds like he's
sports
doing a lot of
media,
homework there.
I think you should probably like be able to read sports websites, but I don't know. Call me crazy.
Number 2 on this list, Bobby Petrino in Atlanta. Boy, was that a doozy.
Oh, that's a beauty too.
Oh, man.
My
I forgot
goodness.
about, like Jim Tom Sula in San Francisco.
Oh,
Forgot about that one.
God, that's a great one.
Nice, a lot of sweat in that one. Adam Gase.
What about
with the
Singletary?
Jets.
Is Singletary on there?
Singletary is not on this list, I don't think.
Huh.
I don't think
I
Singletary.
mean, he just completely melted down.
I mean, you've got 2 prominent college football coaches on this list. Nick Saban to the Dolphins at 24 and Spurrier in Washington at number 20.
See, those are both. I kind of have a problem with both of those. Now, Spurrier, maybe it doesn't, the offense and whatever. But like the Spurrier thing started to reveal to us who Daniel Snyder was, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know that I buy that. And also Saban, Saban did okay with
He's
the Dolphins.
15 and 17.
Yeah, he did okay. The whole thing that happened with Drew Brees, who he wanted to be his quarterback.
Yeah.
And he gets a cashed out Dante Culpepper instead.
Yeah.
I don't know if I buy that one.
Yeah.
I think there's some other ones that we've already talked about that should be there instead of Saban. Not to be a big Saban defender, but I'm just saying.
it is because, on this list, the number 25 coach is actually, let's see here, 5 coaches. The 25 on the list is all of the Browns. Romeo Crennel, Eric Mangini, Pat Shurmur, Rob Chudzinski, and Mike Pettin, all kind of sandwiched together there at number 25.
There's some buttes in there, man.
There's-
Mangini.
Man, the Browns have made some hires.
The Brown and the Jets.
Oh, man.
And the Lions. It's funny how it's consistent,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, there's another Jags coach on here, Gus Bradley. I forgot about Gus Bradley.
Yeah, that's right.
Golly. But hey, if you're a Titans fan, take some heart. You did not make. Now, it could just be like everybody else. I guess they forget you're in the NFL, which seems to be a thing lately.
Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
If it comes down to the Titans on the list, just bring
just
them
get
down.
them
if
off.
you got another team, you
Yeah.
can put them in there.
Throw them in there.
Oh, shoot. Wisenhunt would have been top 5. We forgot you were there.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I mean, Wisenhunt, you can make
At the
case.
time, I don't think it looked,
At the time, it was like, okay, this guy
this could be promising.
took
Oh,
Arizona
yeah.
to the Super Bowl.
I mean,
Sure.
exactly. He had skins on the wall.
Yeah.
Unlike some of these guys.
It is amazing that he was, he took the Cardinals to the Super Bowl in 08, the 08 season, 09 Super Bowl.
And was real close to winning it.
He followed up the next year. They went 10-6. And then it was 5-11, 8-8, 5-11. He gets fired in Arizona. And then it's 2-14 here and then 1-6 before he gets canned. Like it just completely fell apart on him.
Well, and the thing is, as anyone, I mean, we have plenty of people doing shows here who were around. Like, I've not heard a person who was around him back then who has anything but total disgust for him.
Yeah, I haven't either.
It's
I haven't either.
insane.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
I wasn't around
no one
then.
has anything nice to say about the guy.
I was fully into hockey mode then, not on the radio, not around the Titans, but I have not heard anyone say anything positive about that guy.
Like, is there
At all.
if there's someone in town who had a positive interaction with Ken Wisenhunt during his time here, please text or call. The text or phone line driven by WilsonCountyHoney.com.
Well,
Thank
there
you.
Should be one, right? Zach Mettenberger.
Yeah, I mean, the Met show probably loves it.
That's true. He got a nice opportunity.
It's true.
And
Yeah.
I think he's married to one of his kids, is he
I
not?
think, yeah, I think so.
I
Well,
think it's
then,
a
okay. Well, he
father-in-law.
gets eliminated from the
Yeah,
list.
I
It's
think
kind of
so.
like Stairway to Heaven and Freeburg get eliminated
He's
from the
not
classic
allowed.
rock list. Yeah.
Sam on the text line says McDaniels was the worst head coach of all time. I'm pretty sure the Cutler trade was for Kyle Orton. Yeah, I think it was Kyle Orton.
Woo! Boiler up, baby.
I mean, not that Jay Cutler was like, crazy good or anything, but he was a lot better than Kyle Orton.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Golly.
We should ask Zach. How is he as a father-in-law?
Maybe we'll have to get him on the show.
Yeah.
I got a text that says, was interested to catch up on Ken Wisenhunt, and on the Wikipedia page, he's wearing Titans gear in the picture that pops up. Is my phone listening to you guys? I don't know, man. I have not visited the Ken Wisenhunt Wikipedia page in a while. Here's what, like, David Culley is on this list at number 23. Like, I would put Wisenhunt on the list before David Culley, even Texans. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
like David Culley was put in a bad situation.
exactly.
But I don't know that was necessarily a bad hire.
In fact, I would say he probably overperformed what you would have thought would have happened there.
I mean, he's
given all the stuff that was happening with that organization at that point.
He's 23 and Lovie Smith is 22. Both Texans guys, right back to back there, and both of them kind of got screwed by the Texans.
Yeah,
in the middle of that whole Deshaun Watson stuff.
Now that I really don't like this list very much.
Cody Benjamin, need you to put
Cody?
together a better list.
Come on, Cody.
Have to put together a better list.
Jackson saying, why are Freeburg and sorry, I tell this story a lot, but my classic rock station in Richmond, Virginia, XL 102, I think they're not all, it's a rock station, but they do a classic rock countdown. I think I have the station right. Classic rock countdown every summer, and they let people vote, but you can't vote for Freebird and Stairway to Heaven because they're obviously 1 and 2. That's why they're just eliminated from the competition because they're so clearly the top 2.
Says Richmond's alternative rock radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
XL 102.
Yeah. It maybe it's more, back in my day, which is a long ass time ago, it was more all kinds of rock.
I tell you what, you talk about underrated that we probably don't discuss enough in NFL history. The Bobby Petrino thing. I mean, there's the picture of him in the neck brace at Arkansas, which is its own iconic image. But him just quitting on the Falcons after 13 games and basically even like post-it notes in the locker room. Hey, guys, I'm gone, baby. Going back to college.
Thanks.
See you guys later.
THX. Not even spelling out thanks. Just THX. See ya. With a C, not SEE. See ya.
615-737-1025. I didn't know that this was possible, but it is. Rexrode's got a big problem with Stillman, and he ain't even been on the air this week. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. This fall, live at the Pinnacle at Nashville Yards, Tim McGraw will perform at Trinitix's Rock the Cradle. This event's sure to be a great time celebrating a great cause. Proceeds from the event will support newborns and moms at Ascension St. Thomas Midtown. Get your tickets now at rockthecradlenashville.org. Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Still haven't been to a show at the Pinnacle. I assume I'm going to go at some point, but I've heard cool things.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm sure I saw the show. We saw Counting Crows. It was a great show. Perfect. I've heard Paul McCartney playing Pinnacle.
He's coming.
Yeah.
Why is he playing Pinnacle?
I don't know.
So that tickets are $20,000?
Something like that. Yeah. 10 grand, I think. VIP left.
But why not play a bigger venue?
He doesn't want to. 83 years old, does whatever he wants.
Probably just doesn't want your hate. Doesn't want the chance of your hate being anywhere nearby.
If he's in Bridgestone, I'd be there just boo!
Yes, boo. Just cat calling him the whole time. This sucks.
Like, who is this guy?
Incubus is better than this.
Yeah, where's Creed? Get Creed out there.
A lot of people texting today about am I heartbroken because Kirk Cousins said something like he loves Creed. I think he has said previously.
Oh, he's done a whole press conference about
Creed. So yeah, look, nobody's perfect. You like that? You like that? So I'll forgive him for some bad musical taste. He likes some good bands at least. But Ryan McGee texted me real quick. He said, by the way, on that NFC-AFC, that is the post-NCAA breakaway Super League. Roy Kramer told me that would happen for a story in 2011.
There you go.
He hasn't been wrong yet. Roy Kramer is still rocking and rolling well into his 90s, living in the state of Tennessee, by the way.
I mean, that we have discussed that before, like that, the idea of that happening. I hope,
for sure.
I hope not. I know McGee hopes not too. Like, I hope that does not happen. But
I mean, look, if it's NFC AFC and it happens, then to me it's still got to be like 30 or so on each side, which sounds ridiculous.
It's stupid.
But that's still better than just like taking them right now and excluding everybody else. That would be insane.
Yeah, what does the national championship mean then?
Right. It's a joke.
So you have some things to yell about at Stilly, who has not been on the air this week. I believe he's back today. I think he's back on the air today.
Well, I figured since he bailed on us, I mean, he's going to be able to do his show, but he doesn't have time for our show, which is great. But
that's what he said.
Keep bothering me 5 o'clock on Wednesday to help your program. But he texted me this yesterday, and that's usually when Stilly texts me. It's like to point at me and.
Is he doing this again on vacation?
Can't be fake.
Is he texting you on vacation?
Yes.
Tweeting on vacation?
Text me on vacation because there's this. Apparently, Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White. Apparently, maybe they don't see eye to eye about the Fever's offensive identity. There's some, there was a story about this. So he tweeted this to me, and he tweets in all caps, "Worth the wait." Which, for people who don't know that backstory, when Stephanie White was hired as the Vanderbilt women's basketball coach, I was columnist at the Tennessean.
You were. She
had won a WNBA championship. I had watched her play great basketball, winning a national championship as a point guard at Purdue. I had listened to her analysis on the Big Ten Network. She was excellent there. She could be a great analyst, by the way, if she wants to. And so, yes, by all measures, to me, she was a good hire for Vanderbilt. Didn't work out. This is what he clings to. And also, by the way, Jared has like Caitlin, some sort of like she has a Jedi mind hold on him where she couldn't possibly be wrong. Right?
Yeah.
Like, is it possible that a coach could have a good point over a second-year player who's like 22? Yeah. Or Caitlin's just right all the time? Nope. Caitlin's right. If Caitlin said it, it must be right. Again, I love Caitlin Clark, but like we can't touch her, can't breathe on her. Everybody got to vote for her. Everybody's got to applaud. Thank you, Caitlin, for helping the WNBA. And also, if she gets in the beef with the coach must be wrong.
I'm just going through this.
What's wrong with these people?
I'm just going through this old column you wrote at the Tennessee.
Oh yeah? How is it?
It's good. It's going well so far.
I mean, look, she did not do a good enough job. There's no question. I would also say that if you put her in the same time frame, and I think Shea Ralph's done a better job. Shea Ralph's done a really good job.
Yes.
But look at some of the stuff that has happened for Vanderbilt athletics at large in tandem with Shea Ralph's tenure that were not happening for Steph White's tenure, which is, if you go back, there wasn't much happening good other than Tim Corbin at Vanderbilt at the time. Just saying.
the headline is pretty funny. Vanderbilt Stephanie White, worth the wait.
I didn't write the headline, for one thing.
She is worth it.
I mean, it was a good hire.
Here come the Natties.
Hey, just like Ken Wisenhunt, Hey, the guys won a Super Bowl. Good hire. Good hire, Titans.
Oh, I remember the Wisenhunt discussion was always funny around here. It's like, oh, they're good. They're about to wing the ball around, baby. They're about to throw this thing all over the yard out there.
Modern NFL offense, finally.
Get that dinosaur, Mike Mularkey.
Yeah.
Why am I blanking
He
on
was
the coach?
He was later.
Why am I blanking on who the coach was? Munchak. Oh, my God.
Well, it was a
Hall of Fame player. I can't think of his name.
Well, I'm rubbing off on you, man. That's not good.
Yeah, get the dinosaur, Munchak out of here. Let's bring in Wisenhunt.
Brain emeritus.
Someone's horn going off in
Please tell me that's not my rental car.
Someone's horn going off in the parking lot. It could barely kind of hear it in the headphones. I don't know if it's coming through on the air or not, but sorry about that.
All right, I'm just clicking lock just in case. Didn't do anything.
1 year. That's good to know. Good to know.
Please, someone deal with that.
Who was I'm trying to think.
Stilly? Is that you, Stilly?
In year 2 of Wisenhunt, they drafted Mariota. In his first year, I'm trying to remember how many different quarterbacks they went through. I obviously the Met show was a part of it.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember exactly how many quarterbacks they went through in that year where they were 2-14.
Well, it was Rusty. Was that all the same year?
I think so. Yeah.
Who's the backup who had the hair?
Whitehurst.
Charlie Whitehurst.
Charlie
Whitehurst.
Clipboard Jesus was in there.
Sure, man.
I mean, there are some doozies of some quarterbacks that got used that year. It's pretty wild.
Someone figure out the car was blowing up now? Okay.
Zach Mettenberger, Charlie Whitehurst. I think Locker played in 5 games that year. And Jordan Palmer, who apparently Will Levis just worked with. Jordan Palmer played a game for the Titans.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's an incredible.
He threw for, let's see here, 1 completion for 7 yards.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Texter says it's definitely coming through.
What is going on?
What is happening? Do I have to get up and go?
Is there an
take care of this?
Someone from promotions went out there to look.
Is there an attempted burglary going on outside?
If it's a GMC Acadia, that's my rental car.
615-737-1025. We will
because I destroyed my car this week.
This program coming up next. Robby and Rexrode 1025-1063 The Game. The Borchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix coming to the Nashville Super Speedway Labor Day weekend, and 102.5 The Game has your chance to win VIP tickets to the IndyCar race. Text in the keyword RACE to 615-737-1025 to be entered to win a pair of VIP tickets. For more information on the event, visit musiccitygp.com. Final segment of the day, Robby and Rexrode. Rexrode has turned off his car alarm, so that's good. We seem to be in the clear.
We don't know for sure it was mine, but I do think that possibly Karski was trying to break in my car.
There's a chance.
Yeah.
There's a chance it was him. There's a chance it was you.
He says he's on vacation, but I think he might be out cat burglaring and egging people.
Gallivanting around town.
Yeah, that's just my guess.
Maybe so. Taking your thoughts. 615-737-1025. We do have a positive, we have a affirmation here, a positive interaction with Ken Wisenhunt back in the day. Somebody is sending a picture of their grandson meeting Ken Wisenhunt. Two joyous faces in the picture, the grandson and Ken Wisenhunt with a nice smile there. So a positive
there you
interaction.
go. Thank you.
Head coach of Titans.
I knew we would get someone other than people related to him.
This
So,
is the most
there you go.
Ken Wisenhunt has been brought up on a show in Nashville in a long time.
This is July 11th, and that's when extensive Ken Wisenhunt conversations can possibly take place.
No doubt about that. We began the show, Joe, with the NCAA tournament expansion vote. That has been tabled at the moment. Now, still the opportunity and the possibility that the NCAA tournament will expand from 68 to 76, maybe 72. But as of now, nothing official on that front. Yesterday, it gets tabled. So we'll see.
I really thought that yesterday we were going to get the vote and the announcement and the ridiculous statements supporting the announcement that it had expanded. So take every little win for what it is. I still can't say I'm optimistic. There's just a lot of pushing for this from people who have the most power in college athletics, and usually they get their way. But maybe this is a little indication that they're hearing the very loud opposition to this. I mean, it's easy if you want to just say, yeah, screw all these media people. But again, like the customers, your fans, the people who make your product valuable are strongly against this. And the casuals who may not care right now, those are the ones you might lose. So hopefully they'll consider that it hit perfection in 1985. And sometimes you just don't have to change things. And again, if you're going to tell me about how Division I has grown so much, I know that you are BSing me. And everybody else needs to know you are BSing us, Greg Sankey and others, because as you know, all those teams added to the fold are still in the one big leagues that are going to fight for the one bid that they have. The people who benefit from this are the power conference teams that are too average to get in the first place.
Does it give you any hope at all, realistically, that it may not happen, the fact that it was tabled yesterday? Or is this just they ran out of time to talk yesterday and they'll get back to it at some point?
I mean,
they wanted to go to lunch.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly don't even know what else was on the agenda. And there's always a lot of stuff going on. But I don't know. It feels like there's a little bit of hesitation from some people considering all the noise. I hope that's what it is. You hope that you flail your arms and make enough noise across a sport, and like the people who are in power will at least sort of notice it.
This is what Dan Gavitt said yesterday. Quote, expansion, even at a modest level, is complex. More complex, I think, than has been recognized and reported because it is expensive. He goes on to say, if this website will stop having pop-ups, it's expensive because of an additional team travel, per diem, game operations, but also the basketball performance funds, the units that are earned throughout the men's and women's basketball championship. So talking about the expenses of it all, maybe that's why I got tabled yesterday.
Okay. I mean, obviously the idea is that those units he just mentioned, that's what Greg Sankey, Tony Petiti, little MLB TV ideas, and these people want. They want more units, more teams in, more of their teams in, more of their ADs happy, more of their coaches feeling secure in their jobs, and more money from the units. But again, we're talking about What was the number? Why do I always keep forgetting the number?
It was 19.7 billion, if memory serves me correctly.
22-year, 19.6 billion, situation here. And I absolutely think that a big part of that is people who don't follow the sport during the year who then jump on hardcore in March.
Yeah.
But between them and then the people who are really into the sport who are also screaming about this, I don't know. Seems like you might reconsider. So we'll see. I hope so.
I hope so.
But
too.
it's like it's going to loom forever too. It doesn't happen. It'll keep coming back up and keep coming. It gets exhausting.
A lot of reactions to our question we threw out there earlier. What's most likely in the next 5 years? A Titan Super Bowl, a Vols national championship, or a Vanderbilt college football playoff experience? Most people going with the Titan Super Bowl on that. And I think basically because of the NFL, and if you figure out quarterback, you're going to give yourself a shot at that point.
Yeah.
A lot of optimism on Cam Ward.
Yeah, look, the worst team in this league, sometimes the worst team in this league is there as a symptom of just terrible ownership. Hello, Detroit Lions. Or bad management, things like that. Like some of the worst teams stay there. Pittsburgh and some of the best organizations, Baltimore, they stay in one area. But this league is built for within a 5-year period, a team that's 2-15 1 year by the beginning of that can be 15-2 by the end of it. That easily can happen. So, yeah, if Cam right now not knowing at all what Cam Ward's going to be, I think that's the clear choice.
I mean, Titans.
But you think there's a distance between Vanderbilt making a playoff and the Vols winning it all, which is interesting.
I just don't think people realize how hard it is to go from like playoff competitor to national championship winner. Like it's a hard thing, especially as the playoff continues to expand, like getting to 16. Again, like for Vanderbilt, I know the idea of them making the college football playoff to most people just sounds hilarious. Like it's not going to happen, but it is expanding to 16. And we talked about the imbalanced schedule part of it too. Like there's going to be a year at some point where you look at Vanderbilt's schedule and it's like, man, they caught a break here in the SEC, right? Like it's going to happen at some point. And now does everything line up that time? Like, do they get a friendly enough schedule with the right quarterback play, with the right roster at the right time? Like that's a lot of things that have to fall into place at the same time. So I recognize that. I don't think that with the playoff expanded to 16 is just some impossibility like it was when it was a 14 playoff for Vanderbilt.
Different time, but James Franklin, I believe, had a 9-3 Vanderbilt team.
Correct.
Did they lose a bowl game? Then they end up 9-4.
So,
I think that's right. So, yeah, look, Georgia was down then. I mean, you have, but there's other programs right now that have cycling. There will be other programs that cycle down. So yeah, you got to hit lightning in the bottom of the schedule, and then you got to win a couple games that you just shouldn't, like they did last year against Alabama, and you're right there.
Yeah, I mean, Cameron says the Vols don't recruit nearly at a level to win the national championship. Heupel recruits at the baseline for Tennessee, no matter the coach. I wouldn't say that. Like I think Heupel has done a good job recruiting. He has not done an elite job recruiting. But really what it's going to come down to for Tennessee to me is like it's hard for me to believe that this time 5 years from now they're going to be competing top to bottom with a roster of the Ohio States and the Georgias and the Alabamas of the world. Like I don't think that's going to happen. What about the quarterback? Like, do you get good enough quarterback play where you can overcome some of that? That's going to be the way it has to be done.
Yeah, because look, like Michigan, we were talking about them earlier. Like, obviously they won it all 2 years ago. Whatever, you can say whatever you want about what's his name?
Stallions.
Yeah, Connor Stallions. But and it was a very good roster. They sound like guys in the NFL, but like JJ McCarthy, I think really was probably underrated as a college player. That's what put him over the top. Harbaugh had this very disappointing tenure, and then McCarthy becomes finally a great quarterback that he has that elevates everything, right? And now last year they're an average. I know it's they lost all these guys, but like you can see that's a program that I think is more similar to Tennessee in terms of if you have the right guy at that position, you could make a run.
Matthew says Heupel's 2026 class would like a word with that last texter. I mean, I disagree. It's 2026 class at the moment. We'll see where it finishes. But at the moment, it's like 13 through 16, depending on where you look, which is about where they've been. So, again, he's done a pretty good job recruiting, and he's had a couple of high-level guys. And, obviously the one was supposed to be Nico, and that didn't go very well. So we'll see what happens. got another quarterback coming in next year, theoretically.
Big Ten Media Days in Las Vegas, where UCLA's Nico Iamaleava will talk.
Yeah.
What did I just do with his name there?
I don't
That
know.
was very bad.
He torched it.
Whatever. He's a Big Ten quarterback.
Yeah, it doesn't matter
Doing
anymore.
Big Ten Media Days in Vegas for UCLA.
That does it for us today. Hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. We'll be back 6 a.m. on Monday. Jason Big Joe show up next. 102.5, 106.3 The Game.